Well, Richard, welcome to the program, and firstly, congratulations on the new role as chair of the Dairy Industry Awards, and as a former winner, that's very appropriate, isn't it?
Oh, thanks very much, Mark. It's an exciting opportunity for me.
What does it mean for you to be the chair, and what do you hope to bring to the role?
So look, I've been on the trust for the last 5 years, and so I guess becoming chair is a little bit of a natural progression in that respect. Last one standing, I suppose. But look, I really just want to carry on the work that we've already begun in terms of, modernising the Dairy Industry Awards and ensuring that they're fit for purpose for what the dairy industry needs going into the future.
I mean, they are a highly prestigious award, aren't they? And they get a lot of coverage, a lot of profile. And what do you see as the core role, I guess, of the awards?
So the core role of the awards is to develop, promote, and then celebrate excellence along the dairy industry's progression pathway. So what that really means is helping to build that pathway in the first place, in terms of the progression side of things, but then helping to develop the entrance as they go through it, so that they understand what makes a good trainee or makes a good farm manager or a good share milker or contract milker across all the different facets of their job, so that they can essentially analyze what they're doing really well and get some good feedback on that, but also get feedback on what they could be doing better in order to make themselves a good, well-rounded person within that role. And so it's sort of a development. There's a development aspect to it, but then once they get to the point that they win it, obviously, that's a huge celebration in and of itself. And it's also a great way of promoting the industry as well. I always really enjoy looking around the awards nights, particularly the national awards, and seeing all the really, really important people sitting in the audience watching the winners and the entrants in general be acknowledged for all the good stuff they're doing, hearing the judges' citations and that sort of thing. And it's really awesome, especially for people like, government ministers or the local mayors who know a little bit about the dairy industry but aren't as engaged in it, I suppose, as we are.
I also think one of the great things about the awards is, it's changed over time, probably changed from your time as a winner, but nonetheless, the changing face of the winners. A number of them in the recent years have been immigrants. They've come into New Zealand, have changed their lives, they've got into the industry or embellished themselves in the industry, if you like, and have done extremely well.
Oh, exactly. It does show the changing face of the dairy industry, and it's great that we're able to acknowledge, those immigrants, etc., in that way. And just as an example of what I was talking about before, what's been awesome is having the Ministry of Immigration, for example, in the audience at the Dairy Industry Awards, and seeing how well these migrants have done and the value that they're clearly bringing to the dairy industry. So it makes my job as the Federated Farmers Employment and Immigration spokesperson a lot easier when I go and have a meeting with the minister and say, hey, remember those awards that we were at the other day? And how well those people are doing and the value that they're adding to our industry. And so we need to make sure that they can carry on.
Now, taking yourself back, it was 10 years ago? It's quite poignant, really, isn't it? You are now chair and into the new year. I think March of next year you'll take over fully. But 10 years ago you won the Dairy Industry Awards, which is fantastic for the Manawatu Wanganui area. What I guess encouraged you back then to enter, and would you say that it's the same today?
So why I entered is I really wanted to see what it was going to take for me to become a better. Well, I entered as a manager back in 2009, and so then as a share milker in 2013. But it was really about trying to see what makes a good manager, seeing how I compared against everyone else. But the employment opportunities, I suppose, that flow from getting your name out there and being seen to be reasonable at your role was certainly beneficial. And then sort of, I guess, there's a bit of a competitive element to it as well. But wanting to do well in it. So that's kind of what got me in there in the first place. I think. That holds true now. I don't think there's a huge change within that. The dairy industry isn't expanding in quite the same way as it was back in 2009 or 2013, but there's still a huge amount of competition for the really good farms in terms of getting roles there. And so that's a good reason for a lot of people to enter now today.
And do you think you'll change the awards, or are you pretty happy with the way they're placed at the moment?
So, look, we've made a few changes to the structure of the awards themselves, just with a view to having better reporting lines within the organisation, having the trust perform a pure governance role as well. So, there have been a few structural changes in that respect. In terms of the awards programs themselves, we've altered the judging side of things with a view to trying to make it less daunting for new people to the awards or to the industry to enter, so that it's a little bit easier to go in, and the first judging is a little less intense. And if they make it through to the next judging, it's a bit more intense and it sort of builds on itself. And so we can get people entering at the start of their progression journey, as opposed to waiting until they think that they're good enough to win it and then entering it just with that in mind. So we've made a few changes in that respect. We're also looking to make a few changes, just sort of, I guess, projecting forwards to say, well, what does the dairy industry need in terms of skill set, etc., in the next 10 or 15 years, and what can we do to help encourage or provide that, through the awards program. And so those are sort of the changes that we've made or are looking to make.
Well, on another note, good news this morning with the dairy auction. Things have gone in the right direction for the first time in a couple of three, I think it is, three auctions. So that's pleasing.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I've been copying a bit of stick from some of my mates because they think that because I'm the dairy chair, I'm sort of causing it, was causing the slide. So, yeah, certainly a great uphill movement or upwards movement, and long may that continue, I suppose.